Join me in knowing there is only one. There is only one creator of all. Has many names. There is no place this creator isn't. It's all there is. I call it God or Spirit. You may substitute whatever words work for you. The understanding is that it's all there is. There's no spot. This is not true. If there's no spot that this is not true, and this creator is all there is, all joy, all wisdom, all grace, all wholeness, vitality, all love, all those things are what our creator is. Guess what? We are that too. I am that. I am wisdom, joy, grace, whatever I said. I am those things. Over the top and overflowing. Each of us is. To the extent we're able, we overflow all this goodness into this room, into this world. Unlimited, easy, and graceful. Today I know just the right words, just the right laughter, just the right joy, just the right truth will come from our brilliant speaker into the ears of those receptive among us, into the brilliant ears, that this is flow all the time, wisdom and grace in and out, like breath, limited only by our willingness to breathe. Our capacity is boundless. There's no end to the source of love. There is no end. There's no limited supply. It's all love, always there. All this love, all this good is ours to have because we are of it. I'm so grateful for this awareness, so grateful for this firm, clear knowledge that I am of that. So I'm going to let this go right now into that law, these words that just are words, but the truth, the feeling, the intention never diminishes. Spirit's already got it. Spirit's kind of going, where you been? I already know this stuff. It's already in the works or done. A lot of it is just me opening my allowance, my belief a little broader. Open, receptive, and grateful. That is me. And so it is. So each Sunday, Reverend David tells us that the 2024 global theme of CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, is a grand rising. The Centers for Spiritual Living, and this is right off their front page, are collectively moving from being the world's best kept secret into action. It's time for us to emerge into this new post-COVID world driven by faith, leading with courage, and moving with action. Olid. Now, it's time for our grand rising. This is the corporate message, and I certainly can't argue because I believe the world, and I hope you agree, needs this philosophy more than ever. So let's start here at home. If we are to step into our own grand rising, and this is not even at home, but inside, we must be willing to embrace a new way of experiencing and expressing ourselves. For some of us, this new way is easy, or we've been doing it a long time and it feels easy, because we can see that the old way isn't working. The old way of what, you might ask? The old way of thinking? Well, the old way of believing what you think. I used to have that bumper sticker, don't believe everything you think. I think Eckhart Tolle actually built a whole book around that whole idea. So I'm curious right now, you know the slogan, change your thinking, change your life? How many of you know that one? How many of you believe it? Do you really believe it? Change your thinking, which is believing, and change your life. Okay. It is changing your belief system, your BS. Not quite as catchy, but changing your thinking, changing your life is more accurate. We'll just stick with this idea. It means growing new muscles for a lot of people. It means in any situation in your life when not good might be appearing, being open to the possibilities that more good is available, that maybe Spirit has a bigger idea for you, for us, and that maybe I'm willing to experience that. That's opening the door to a little bit more good than I was used to. Almost 30 years ago, I was having lunch with a friend and was going about the struggles of my life. She said, and it stuck with me, if you want change, then change. No, it's in here, not out there. Well, okay, I'll take that. So I did, and I had a lot of help to do that for myself. And I was aiming to be a better me, and, you know, it worked. There's a comma at the end of that, because I'm not done. Do you ever wonder what it is that keeps us from making the choice to change? I'm speaking about what keeps us playing small, whether it's here inside our own hearts, or here at the center, or the Centers for Spiritual Living, the religious science. Why do we play small? I would say David has spoken about this a few hundred times. I will review. Maybe we're just being polite. You know, a lot of us were raised to stay out of other people's business. Don't push, and don't impose your philosophy on other people. This mind your own business philosophy is deeply embedded in those beliefs many of us have about change. We fear change because it might change us. We fear it because we might not be enough for what's coming. We fear it, we might do it wrong. Or we just don't want to disturb the status quo. I mean, everything's good, right? It's all fine, just fine. You know what FINE stands for? Feeling insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Next time somebody asks you how you're feeling and you say fine, just check that. Damn, they're right again. So I'm going to circle back to those new muscles we're growing. This is all about learning new responses to life's occurrences. It's not denying that it hurts, whatever it is, or that it's hard, or that it's sad. It's not denying that. The muscle is understanding that just because it happened yesterday does not mean it must happen today and in the future. Ernest Holmes gave this understanding the slightly ponderous phrase, principle is not bound by precedent, which means there's no law in the universe that seeks to perpetuate old limitations. But there is a law which responds to our greater vision at the exact level of that vision. This isn't in here, but I frequently, you ask somebody how they're doing, and they're going, just hanging in there. And all I want to say is, how's that working for you? Because you're claiming that. That's why I call, people say, how are you? I say, fabulous. Why? Because when you call fabulous, fabulous comes. Call what you want to come, even if it's offhanded, even if it's just, you feel like you're just platituding. But it works. It really works. Something in your brain is listening. I believe it's spirit. Okay, where was I? So, this is a quiz. How much more good can we have? Only as much as we allow ourselves to receive. Yeah. This is an awakening, a grand rising, if you will. We're each awakening in a new way to the realization that we're bigger than we thought we were. Now, what are we going to do about it? How do we carry that awareness forward into a larger expression of good in our own lives, the lives of our spiritual community, our larger community, and the planet? That how question can get people really caught up. How? I don't know how, so I guess I won't even try. We say here, God, how is God's job? I'll say that again. How is God or Spirit's job? Yeah, whatever the word is, that's the universe's job. That's the creation's job. That's not my job. I will do the next indicated thing, but the how is a mystery, and I'm going to let it be a mystery. I'm just going to say that. That's what's in my life. That good. I call it. It's important to realize that we are each doing this expression of greater good in our own way. If you're a team leader here, or council member, or practitioner, or simply a person on a spiritual path, if you desire to have a world that works for everyone, your consciousness is working toward that end. And there are many more ways to be actively practicing the greater good. But we must start where we are, no matter where you are, there you are, with the limitless potential of God and Spirit within us, right here, right now. So some of you know I'm in school right now to become a minister for the Centers for Spiritual Living. And right now I'll tell you, because most of you know this, but some of you might not, I'm only planning to be David's backup singer. I don't want a pulpit on a regular basis, as is seen in this moment. But in June, I will start my senior year. So I graduate in 25. This past term, my class was religion and society. Just a narrow, just a little window on the whole thing. It was a big overview of things like religion and racism, immigration, sexuality, environment, fundamentalism. I mean, we looked at different stuff each week. And then we had to write our usual term paper. And it could be on any topic within the religion and society world you wanted to talk about. So, yeah. I need more. But I'm pondering this over the first couple of weeks of things. And one day, an interesting proposal popped into my head. And it literally lit my imagination on fire. The question was, if I could design and build the perfect spiritual home, what would I build? And why? The why. So the little history here, I've always loved designing buildings since high school, probably before that. Lego. I was making houses with Lego all the time. When I was told I'd need math skills to be an architect, I sort of just went into art. Nowadays, you don't need math skills, you just need a computer. Anyway, I read and I studied when I could and set in motion, apparently that's the way the law works, opportunities where I would eventually design and build my own home, various kitchens, gardens, another home, maybe a spiritual center. Oh, that's just the way my brain works. So the idea of starting from scratch and even in my imagination, creating a new center, that lit me on fire. I was up off the chair and I was in the other room making lists of design. Images are popping in my head. Spaces, materials, construction elements, and I began to even feel and hear what it felt like to move through the building. I'm telling people about when you walk in, you can hear the sound of water over here and down there. I'm very visual. My research, because this was a research paper I was writing, had to be about why I would want the various elements that I would want. I'm not sure, I kept thinking, what has this got to do with religion? You got me. So the facility grew in my creative imagination to include classrooms and meeting spaces, and a big garden over there, and it was earth-bermed and had solar panels, Jesus Christ. I'm an open vessel for possibilities here. And like I said, I was struggling to define what this was really about and why was it related to religion. I began to wonder if I was supposed to actually build this thing or see how, cause it to be created. And I had several people say yes, because they wanted the housing out behind the field there that would be included, an intentional community, all that. Most of what I ended up writing about was how organized religion served humanity for centuries and how it's changing today. So much is about not throwing out the good, the whole institution of religion, but just the parts that don't serve our society as it's evolving. I could not discern how to include this vision, this building, into the paper. I asked for prayer repeatedly to help me discern what this compelling vision was communicating to me, and with a little help I got some. Got a blank page. More than a specific place, it is a practice, because what is evolving today is a transformed consciousness that must be expressed. The science of mind philosophy has taught us change your thinking, change your life since the very beginning. Even those of us who have done lots of interior work still find this an ongoing exercise as we continue to build muscles. So some of you might ask, if I am changing my thinking, why is my world getting harder to live in? Oh God, another thing to learn from, another opportunity for growth, another challenge to overcome. Dang, when will it stop? Well, why can't I just stop and be happy? Guess what? You can. People do all the time. But if you're here listening to these talks on a Sunday, you're probably choosing to thrive, not just survive, not just hang in there. You are here with people to learn from and to teach. We are doing this interchange. A thriving fruit tree. This is right out of the script for this week's talk. A thriving fruit tree breathes an exchange of CO2 and oxygen that benefits all creatures' breath. Its blooms establish a cooperative relationship with the bees. It offers fruit in abundant generosity, feeding birds and animals that then scatter its seeds and ensure its reproduction. How can we, as humans, find our own way to more consciously cooperate with each other? Well, we do it in community, such as this one, don't we? I don't know what the seeds I'm planting will land in and grow. You don't know who you talk to today, what's going to happen. But when we know good as our eventual outcome, just let that go. That's the how, again. Just let it go. For now, as the going gets tough, you know what? I think I actually lost a page of my paper. No, it's okay. Okay, as the going gets tougher, we practitioners, and that's all of us, not just with the capital P, if you practice this, we must up our game. This is the rising thing, building muscles. Yes, it would be lovely to magically attract those millions of people most in need of spiritual support to our centers. And maybe we have to build a more fabulous center. But really, we must understand something. The rapidly changing landscape of our world and of all its systems, natural, cultural, social, and political, reminds us that many old patterns of thought and behavior no longer serve us. Think about what you might be, a recovering Catholic or recovering from. Those that served us at one point doesn't serve anymore. New situations demand new creativity, new teachability. I'm open to learning something new. New vision. Spirit invites us to open our minds and hearts to our next steps. We lean into the open question, what's mine to do? And then commit to acting on the answer. As we deepen into this teaching, we notice our focus evolving from getting to having, to being. The wholeness of God, the love of God, the givingness of God is not only available to us, It's what we are. Like, I can't get closer to God. God's here, and I'm just trying to get a little closer and closer and closer. And Susan Einhorn taught me this a long time ago. You stop. You can't get closer to something you already are. You're already that. You're already that good. That whatever you call forth, that overflowingness, you're already that. Let yourself be it, feel it, know it. A truth that big cannot just sit inside us. It must be expressed outward into the world in new ways. What Emerson termed divine discontent pushes us into inner commitment and outer action. Compassion pulls us into conscious connection, cooperation, and synergy with all our relationships on levels from personal to interpersonal to planetary. So I go back to my perfect spiritual center vision. I had thought that this exploration was all about imagining a physical space that supports and even exalts community in the broadest and most inclusive sense of what community is. It's, after all, where we live, the world we live in and with, not just the people, although we're members of it. It could be a teaching center where the idea of being one with all there is honored and sacred and practiced. One might notice echoes of Findhorn, that beautiful planned eco-community, other eco-communities around the world, which of course our world needs. But I wondered again, why this? Why now? These are questions I often ask when I surprise something showing up in my life. I recognize now that these images of a fabulous place in which to worship and discover a deeper connection to spirit, to the earth, to my fellows are, as they say, all in my head. I have come in just the past week to understand that this place more clearly resembles my subconscious than any real place. I have been trying to draw it because that's what I do. The desk is littered with sketches. But I understand now that this paper is about a different place entirely. It turns out I still have work to do inside me. Shocker, right? Spirit communicated with me in the language I could most clearly understand. Took a while, but I got it. So when I asked for clarity, I got clarity. As we live this teaching, we find that the more fully we embody the truth of our wholeness and oneness in the one, the more we experience direct and delightful connection with our good. My understanding of spirituality expands as I appreciate the gifts that religion throughout her history has given us. The edifice I was imagining and drawing and furnishing and even populating was my own inner landscape, complete with water features and fabulous full-sense details. There was music, had a piano. The spaces I could see so clearly were clear messages from my unconscious, mostly clear messages from my unconscious mind, reminding me that I am still growing and learning. There is more to my leadership than what I am doing now. I have the capacity. We are each beautiful structures, full of gorgeous light, natural details, and incredible and unlimited power. Right? When we are grounded in the truth of who we are and in our vision of who we are becoming, the vision and that truth inform our every thought, word, and action. Knowing that we are about our Creator's business, we consciously, lovingly, and creatively get to work implementing a world that works for everyone. We've probably all heard the Zen proverb, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. In this human divine incarnation on planet Earth, as our awareness of our oneness deepens, the tasks at hand don't change, but the consciousness we bring to them does. Our sense of connection to the whole invests our every action with more love. Our grounding in truth infuses our simplest act with a light that might save one life, or maybe the whole world. The inner truth of who and what we are, perfect love, expressing and experiencing itself as our individuation of it, I said it right, has not changed. Our awareness of it and alignment with it have expanded. It expands. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I didn't know. That's when that's expanding. From this newly awakened perspective as love incarnate, we can see the suffering and hate and anger in our society, listen to this, not as invitations to feed more energy into the problem, but as calls to action for positive change. Divine indwelling love wisdom guides us in each perfect new step. God is in the details, and our attention to every detail is imbued with love. Love expresses itself in our every activity, whether that's chop wood, carry water, or something big and brave and never done before. This is what we are growing those muscles for, whether it's saying yes to core council, or coming on Sundays, or Zooming. That's still God. We're still being just as much God as anybody else. The divine identity within each of us inspires us to be our unique expression of the one. I told you of the path I am on and what I think I'll be doing beyond the next few days. I assume, but I don't know. Divine possibility invites us to action. Divine guidance, in the form of a dream or a building or whatever, gladly answers our open question, what's mine to do? And once we get Spirit's answer, be it the faintest glimmer or a whole big firework explosion, it's up to us to say yes and make the move. Will Rogers famously said, if you're on the right track, you get run over if you just sit there. So let us rise up and take the leap into our new, now, what's next? Thank you. I will point this out, be open to revealing your view of life, ask what wants to be created here, instead of problems needing solving. When we focus on the problems, what do we get? More problems. When we focus on possibilities, what do we get? There you go. We also have an affirmation, if you will join me in saying this. I view the world with fresh eyes, asking, what wants to be created here? And then I create it. And so it is.